Hey folks, this is Shailesh Manjrekar here at Cloud Fabric. Super excited to be talking to you about our launch, and we'll get started. So we are absolutely thrilled to be rebranding our company from cloudfabrics.com to Fabrix.ai. And in the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll be walking you through what this means. So the market has changed, the technology has changed, and the customer requirements have changed. And our platform has evolved to meet those requirements. So the robotic data automation fabric, what we have added additional enhancements to able to cater to what we are calling the modern operational intelligence platform. And this is based on Agentic AI. So as you can see here, there are three pillars to this platform. The first one is around AI and our ability to be able to create and deploy agents. These agents autonomously perform a task related to IT operations, and they orchestrate the data fabric and the automation fabric. The data fabric is really the major building block around consolidating all of the data sources and providing and curated data source to the AI agents. And the automation fabric is really about the ability to execute an agentic task as orchestrated by the AI agents. So we'll dwell a little more deeper into this, right? I'll be focusing on the product-centric aspects of the launch. So let's look at the why and the what and the how behind the launch here itself. So primarily, if you look at the AI ops and observability market today, it's highly fragmented. There are several challenges which vendors have tried to meet, but none of the vendors really have, carved out a large portion of the market. And what are those challenges? So obviously, there are several tools you need which operate at different levels of the domain. So let me build this up. There are several heterogeneous data challenges because of the different data types involved. OTel has been a good first step, but it hasn't kind of got the adoption yet. Supervised learning challenges involve a lot of data, and the data needs to be labeled, and there is a lot of time to value involved. There are query complexities because each of these solutions have their own query engines. And then finally, obviously, about the volume and the velocity and the cardinality of the data. So if you look at the landscape, there are vendors who are very, very close to the data, including us, and they have tried to provide data-centric AI solutions. Then there are analytics vendors, including us as well. We have taken the approach of providing on top of the data-centric approach and analytics-centric approach. And then there is the process-centric vendors who are more around the ticketing systems, the notifications, and so on and so forth. What we call a modern operational intelligence platform caters through all these domains, and it's our attempt to overcome the challenges as we have seen with the previous approaches. Particularly if you see, with previous machine learning and generative AI approaches, it's only to the extent of being able to notify the user, or the onus is on the user to be able to interpret the results, the dashboards, or the tickets and perform some action. The agents, in contrast, are able to perform that action. They're not only able to infer, they are essentially able to sense, they are able to reason, they are able to plan, and they're able to act, right? So that's the major differentiation with the agentic approach and what we are providing through the new enhancements to the platform. So again, the previous solutions have been rule-based. They had a lot of inflexibility. They had a lot of shortcomings. We tried to overcome those challenges using our data fabric. So that was our innovation for last probably 5 years or so, right? And we have made quite some strides around it, where it enabled us to play in the not only just the regular AI ops use cases, but also opened up the market for us for new data-centric use cases, whether it be a unified network observability or whether it be telco service assurance and so on. Today, we are going a step further where the AI agents are able to, you're able to provide a specific task to them, and they are able to decipher that task. They are able to reason on that task and get to the appropriate data fabric, whether it is data fabric, whether it is automation fabric or AI fabric, to execute that task, whether it be executing data pipelines, getting curated context using RAG models, leveraging LLM for decision making, or actually executing a particular workflow. And that we think has been a major innovation, going forward. So again, if you look at the platform itself, there are these three building blocks. So the use cases haven't changed for us. It's really about asset intelligence, it's about observability, it's about AI ops, and it's about telco service assurance. Just that the approach we are taking to solve these challenges or these use cases is now significantly different. So what are some of the kind of stable stakes or the building blocks for the agentic AI framework? First and foremost, you have the agent orchestration, where you're putting the LLM at the center of decision making, where when you give it a task, it's able to break those tasks down, and it's able to what we call graph of thoughts, and it's able to orchestrate anything which is needed, be able to create an agent, be able to schedule an agent, be able to delete an agent, and so on. And all of this, it's paramount that we have AI guide rails. So everything goes through this AI guardrails building block, where we are ensuring that what the AI agents are asking is really something which is appropriate, and it's worth executing on. We also provide a lot of focus on managing the data and the action privileges. So security and privacy are again very paramount, just like AI guardrails. And then being able to provide that explainability for the AI agents is also going to be very important, and the quality control. And finally, the reasoning LLM. So we provide a number of different LLMs for different tasks, whether it be our own network LLM, it could be open source LLMs like Llama 3, 3.3, or it could be DeepSeek, or even it could be other LLMs like Mistral and so on. So this is a framework we use. So we have an agent studio, as well as we have an copilot, where you can provide conversational phrases, and the AI orchestrator kind of looks at it through the AI guardrails, and then the orchestrator is able to break that task down and into an agent, okay, and then being able to orchestrate across the entire life cycle. We also involve inference time compute and reasoning. So there is not a lot of training required. There's not need for any labeled data. Inference, we do a lot of decisions at the inference time. And then the AI fabric essentially orchestrates the automation fabric and data fabric, and they work in tandem. They go back and forth to actually get to an outcome. So this particular slide shows you that, hey, we are able to cater to different data sources, whether it be observability data sources, whether it be infra data sources, whether it be networking, security, and so on. And our data fabric, or what we used to call robotic data automation fabric, is able to curate that data and put it either in databases which we have in our own platform, or it can also leverage if the customer has its own databases, whether it has Splunk, it has Elasticsearch, or it has any other time series database, or it has VectorDB and CMDB, and or any other data lakes. We are able to leverage all of that, and the AI agents now have all of that data accessible at their disposal to be able to execute these agents through the automation fabric. The data fabric actually curates that data in form of the graph DBs, or the knowledge graphs, which we create, the data fabric creates through the data pipelines. So just now dwelling a little bit more deeper, the data fabric, again, we have had this for quite a while. We have about almost 1,000 data source integrations, and it's able to do data integration, data ingestion, right, data enrichment, which is very important, even the embeddings, which are needed for the RAG models and the data routing. And again, as I said, it can leverage any other existing data platform which the customer may have. The automation fabric, again, you got to remember that fabric by definition means being able to take any source and any destination and being able to interconnect it seamlessly, right? I mean, we have had network fabric for a long time. So this is just an reincarnation of this from an automation perspective, where we are able to provide workflow automation. We are able to provide the rollback and check pointing. It's very dynamic. It also uses LLMs for the decision making. And we have our own workflow engine, but we also work with other third-party engines, whether it be Cisco BPA, business process automation, or it could be Red Hat Ansible, it could be Jenkins, it could be Terraform, and so on and so forth. And the AI fabric is really at the heart of the Fabrix.ai AI agentic AI framework. And this is where, as I said, we allow you to create new agents with a specific conversational, you can provide a conversational phrase, and it will create the agent and the task graph associated with that agent. And you are now able to execute and test each of those task graphs before you actually put them into deployment. So this is really the heart, and the LLM is at the center of the decision making with the AI guardrails, which ensures that the outcomes are very deterministic. So again, the AI agents know what is needed to execute this particular task. They can execute the appropriate data pipelines. They can get to the right curated context, and they can execute the right task to the automation framework. So this is how a task graph looks like, which I will also show you in a demo. And then we have storyboards, which provide you all the heuristics and the observability around the agents as to how many agent runs have happened, how many alerts were analyzed, how many tickets were created, how many critical events are there, right? What's your monthly cost savings? What's the outcome of your runs of this agent? Okay, and how many outages have you prevented? Again, very important to have that AI explainability, so that customers gain confidence in the agentic workflows. So again, Cloud Fabrics is at the forefront of this. We are among the very few handful of the IT ops companies who are talking about agentic AI, and we have actually been able to today launch this new enhanced capabilities, right? This is a storyboard which talks about demonstrates an ACL change agent. So if you look at the task description, what it is saying is monitor all change requests to the networking infrastructure. If a specific ACL change is blocking access or it's opening access to known risky agents, update the change request for blocking the change, right? And just based on this conversational phrase, the LLM has been able to create this task graph, which is a bunch of flowcharts, if you will, right? And there are a number of steps which each of these tasks executes on. And then you can see the observability aspects and the operational stats aspect of this agent. Similarly, this is another agent, sample agent, which we have created, which looks at syslogs with the severity of critical, creates a baseline, and if the alert count exceeds that particular count, then you open a ticket. If the ticket is already existing, then you modify the ticket. So all kind of decision making you can perform using the LLMs. So this is where you can also add a new agent right on the fly, and I'll show this to you in the demo. You can modify a task, you can add a task, you can execute a task individually, and then look at that agent holistically before you actually deploy it. So there is always a human oversight, and you can provide the reliance to the agent to the degree which you want. Again, we are literally making this market, right? So look at, there are Forbes article, which I have written. Our CEO has written several articles. Our CPO has written articles. Our CTO has been talking about this. So there'll be a lot of information coming out as part of this launch. So stay tuned. With that, let me kind of jump into the demo, where I'll show you how all of this kind of comes together. So this is our agentic AI framework, and you can see, there are a bunch of agents created. So let's start with actually looking at the storyboard itself. So I'll show you the storyboard, which I showed you in the slide. And you can see this. This is an agent storyboard, which is telling a story about the agent and about the execution of the agent and the logical reasoning of that agent. So what does this do? So again, every 1 hour, it looks for syslogs with certain severity. It looks at the baseline, and if the syslog count has exceeded that baseline, then generate a ticket. And using that conversational phrase, the platform is able to create this task graph completely autonomously, along with the JSON code associated with it. And then each of these tasks is actually executing a task where it is querying stream, right? It's executing the LLM. It's the LLM is making a decision. It's querying stream again. It's going to the rule engine and it's running the pipeline. And then it is able to show you the operational stats. You can view the JSON here, right here. Okay, if you want to, you can execute the agent here. You can look at the observability metrics here as to what are the tasks by different types, right? When are they executed? What is the duration? So every heuristic is available to you to build up that explainability. Let's go back to another agent here, which I'll show you, which is the ACL change agent, which also we talked about, right? So again, similarly, you provided a conversational phrase, and it will actually create the task graph for you using the LLM as the decision maker. And then you can look at several different steps which are outlined here: stream query, LLM generator. Okay, look at, it looks at the, so you're giving it a conversational query. It needs to interpret that in terms of the IP addresses and so on and so forth. Okay, and then compare it with the golden database. Okay, to allow it what we call permit, deny, or default actions. Okay, so again, now let's go. So we saw the storyboard. Now let's look and see if we can, how do we execute an agent? So when you have to execute an agent, let's see, let's pick up an existing agent. So these are all the agents which we have. Let's pick up one agent and then look at, hey, there is a task graph already associated with it. Okay, you can obviously create a new task if you want to, but here we are trying to focus on executing this agent. And this agent, every 1 hour, it looks for syslogs. If the count is more than 50, check the hourly average. And if the count is more than last week, open a ticket, right? So let's execute this agent. Okay, and I'm saying execute this. Okay, and now we can go back and look at the activity here. I'm refreshing the screen to see, what it has created. It actually did create this incident, okay, at 4:56. So incident created, count of critical syslogs in the last hour is more than twice the hour. Okay, and you can then, look at it if you want more details around it. Okay, it has taken 15 seconds to actually create that, and so on and so forth. Okay, now if since there is already a ticket created, if I try to execute that agent again, it will tell me that ticket is already existing. Okay, so let's execute this one more time and see what happens. So you can see here it has actually created another ticket. Okay, because the count has gone over and above what we had specified. Okay, now let's look at another thing, which is, you want to add, say you want to add another agent. So you can come here and say, okay, well, I want to, let me create an agent myself. Okay, and you can give it a task, right? Let's call it an anomaly detection agent. So I'm giving it a conversational phrase and I'm saying, okay, well, create the agent for this particular task. And you'll see that it's creating the agent here. It says creating here. And it's created that agent. And now we can go and look at the task graph which it has created, okay, and the JSON associated with it. And you can add a task if you want to, right? Say you want, you look at the task and there are like 4 tasks. You can add another task which says task 5 and say, hey, what kind of task is this? Let's say, so the LLM, where the LLM is involved, you'll see a different color for that task where it shows a purple color. Let's say we want to do a run a pipeline task, right? And run a pipeline to calculate average alerts. Okay, and task on success, say if we say task 2, okay, and task on failure, we say task 4, right? We're just creating some kind of a logic and we say, okay, add a task. And now it has added that particular task. So you can see it added task number 5, right? And you can now click at it, okay, and then you can execute that, test it individually, right? Or you can revert it back and so on and so forth. So it's a very powerful capability, right? So you can test each and every step of that agent before you are actually launching it into production. So what we saw, just to summarize, we saw the agent storyboard. We saw how to execute an existing agent and look at the output of that agent. And we also saw how to create a new agent and a task. So we are super excited again with all of these capabilities. Looking forward to and talking more to you